Thank you for joining us for Couch and Court Issues. My name is Carla, and I'm a therapist, and I'm here with Mark, my husband, and family law attorney. We're both excited about being here and glad you've joined us for Couch and Court Issues, where we talk about real-life problems that impact the family.
Hello, today we're going to talk about teen issues. Easter break is here for many teenagers, and we thought this would be a good time to discuss teen issues and offer insight and guidance to equip your teen to take on the world as a mature and successful person.
As a result of this show, listeners will gain an increased awareness of teen issues, that together as a community, we can offer support, encouragement, and prayer for teens, their families, and the parents.
Many parents wonder, why can't we just go straight from childhood to adulthood without this insane, crazy time? That's a fair question. Teens need time in which to let go of parental dependence and move into adult independence. Unfortunately, this doesn't happen overnight. God knew what he was doing when he developed the family system. Teens are under the control of an authority until they are ready to take ownership of their own life. As a parent, we are that earthly authority. One of the ways we can help our teen get ready for adulthood is by establishing good boundaries, consequences, and structure.
Now, good boundaries, consequences, and structure are very important. Before we can do so, it would be helpful to have an idea to understand what is healthy teen development. What does it look like? Mark jokingly mentioned insane times to explain the teenage experience. There's a difference between healthy developmental experience that we're uncomfortable with, but is healthy, and then there's defiance. Our goal for the next few minutes is to talk about and explain the difference between healthy teenage development, which doesn't always feel good to us, and defiance.
According to Dr. John Townsend, author of Boundaries with Teens, teens have an emotional attachment to their parents and friends. They are not detached and withdrawn. Instead, they are bonded and connected to others. Teens perform the tasks they are supposed to: schoolwork, chores, and family duties. Teens are generally reliable and dependable, and they don't require as much supervision as young children.
Right, and I believe everyone should get the respect that they're due. And as a teenager, enough respect to realize that there's a difference and you do not have to treat them and supervise them like you do a young child. But we need to help them understand that they and others make mistakes and that they're not perfect and that that's okay. I heard one time someone say, we're not sinless, we sin less. And I think that's something good for us all to recognize. None of us is perfect, and our goal is just to do the best we can one day at a time. Teens have minor scrapes, but not major accidents. They may make a lot of mistakes, but they don't have to have many crises. Teens are more invested in their friends and the outside world than they are in their family. And this is different than teens from younger kids, but they are connected to the family. But their outside world is gaining more importance.
Also, let me talk about parents' rights and responsibilities. Parents should know they have a duty to support their teens. They are legally obligated to provide their children with support for the necessities of life. The duty to support a teen lasts until the child reaches the age of 18 or 19 if the child is still enrolled in high school full-time. Parents may be morally responsible for supervising and controlling their children. However, parents generally are not legally responsible for the acts of their children except for injuries from guns, willful misconduct, graffiti, truancy fines, and injuries to another person on school grounds.
I think it is totally okay to let your teens know that their behavior and their actions not only impact them, but everyone around them, and that their consequences can impact the family, not only financially, but emotionally, so that the kids and parents know that they can be held responsible for the things that their kids do in the areas that were just mentioned. Peers and friends are important part of development. It is also a time when we get a lot of challenges because teens are highly vulnerable to their peers, their attitudes and behaviors. Their peers can teach them about things that you never wanted your teen to learn, and they can influence your teen to do things that are not only unwise, but can be downright harmful. Unfortunately, I need to say this. Your kid can be one of those teens that's a negative influence to others. It can go both ways. Remember, that God designed your teen to become more and more invested in relationships outside the family. His intent is for them to take the love, the growth, and the maturity you have helped them to develop, in turn, give it to other people. And there's positive ways to do that.
We have already talked about healthy teen development. Now let's talk about defiance. Defiance. Let me read Proverbs 13:20. It says, "He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm." Defiance is not a part of healthy teenage or any age development. A defiant teen questions or completely rejects your authority as a parent. Defiant teens want to be their own boss. Their battle cry is, "Hey, you can't tell me what to do." This thinking has some problems, of course. First, teenagers aren't ready to be their own boss. Without parents to guide and protect them, a teen may be hurt or hurt themselves in some way because they lack maturity and do not have enough life experience to make good judgments.
Defiance can bring up so much negative emotions in us as parents because it attacks our role as a protector, and it can be emotionally draining. Here are some guidelines to stay calm and in control. Stand firm against defiance. You can do that. And at the same time, you can be reasonable and loving, but keep to your limits and be strong. When you stand firm against defiance, you are providing from the outside that which your teen does not possess on the inside. And those things are structure, self-control, respect for authority, delay of gratification, and impulse control. And in doing so, your teen can internalize these attributes from you so that they can become theirs. Staying strong can be an example to them on how to do it, and in doing it in a healthy way can be in a way that kids can hear it. This is the training that is stated in Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Stay connected. Stay connected, stay connected. It's difficult. Even though your teen's anger and rebellion against you can make connection challenging, as much as possible, stay in relationship with your teen.
Also, give as much freedom as your teen earns. If you have a defiant teen, he will insist on total and complete freedom. Expect escalation. Expect your defiant teen to initially get worse rather than better after you set limits. This is the nature of defiance. Encourage adaptation. If this goes well, your teen will adapt to reality. The teen will give up the fight and accept that he cannot control everything and that your teen does have to answer to someone.
Teen years can cause us so much passion and emotion, and it makes things kind of hard to judge in your brain because you're just so emotional about it. So let's come down a little bit. I want to talk about a temper tantrum because that's basically what defiance is. Temper tantrum gone too far. So let's look at kids. And we always think of 2-year-olds as having temper tantrums. Let's go like that so maybe we can relate the experience. When you have a 2-year-old and they want something, you've always given it to them. And so they say, "Mommy, can I have this?" And you say no. And you stand firm and Dad say no. And so they'll escalate. Just like a teen. And so they think, well, if I said more, she'll say yes, but you still say no. They say if I scream and cry, she'll say yes, you still say no. If I fall on the ground, if I wail, as long as you still say no in love and kindness and firmness, that toddler will understand that no means no. No matter what I do, it means no. The same for that teen. No means no, and they need to understand that. If that is not good enough, if it gets way out of control, if it's beyond that, don't be afraid to seek professional help. If your teen's defiance get out of control, get help. There's no harm in that. Matter of fact, it may be needed. Sometimes a teen needs boundaries and structure that parents can't provide. There's counselors, youth pastors, school staff, residential treatment centers. And they can all come together and work with you in trying to help your teen become healthy developmental adults. If that doesn't happen, defiance can escalate into drug and alcohol use, truancy, fighting, stealing, vandalism, and gangs. Grades can be another warning sign that teens are moving too far away from the family structure. Any change in behavior can be a warning sign. So one thing to look at is grades, and grades can be another warning sign that things are going off base. My first career out of college was a teacher. I don't want to make it look like grades means defiance only, because there's two types of situations that may lead to poor grade performance. One is what can lead to defiance. It's the underachieving teen can do better in school, but because they aren't motivated or don't have the necessary internal structure, they don't do better. But then there's the other type. The low academic achievement may be also due to a physical illness, a learning problems, and emotional struggles. So have your teen evaluated to rule out these problems. We always think safety first, but I think health first. So have your seen by a doctor, see if anything physically is going wrong, maybe a psychiatrist to see if anything emotionally is going wrong, and check that out, and maybe by a learning therapist, a psychologist, to see if there's some learning problems or struggles.
Teens who have a positive relationship with their parents generally do better in school. Positive connections between parents and teens lessen the likelihood that teens will exhibit problem behaviors. It has also been shown that the quality of a teen's diet affects their success in school. Going without a healthy diet causes irritability, distractibility, or emotional changes, which affect the children's achievement scores or behaviors.
Exercise also affects academic success. Students who exercise or play sports tend to have higher grade point averages. Not all teens are interested in organized sports, so joining a fitness center, riding bikes, or walking are great ways to stay connected with your teen and promote healthy lifestyles and also promote family relationships. Defiance as a teen can result in interactions with the juvenile court system.
Now let me talk a little bit about the juvenile court. The juvenile court is a separate court system for those under 18. Juvenile court serves three distinctively different groups of children. First, there are children who have committed an act that, if committed by an adult, would be considered criminal. Second, there are children who have committed status offenses. Status offenses are activities that are only wrong if committed by a teen. For example, truancy, running away from home, or violating curfew. And then there are those children who have been abused, neglected, or abandoned. A judge must decide who will care for these children.
As humans, we have 4 needs that needs to be met, and the categories are spiritual, social, physical, and emotional. So whenever something is going off base in one of those 4 areas, check it out. It's an indication to ourselves and to others that some need is not being met. If you just joined us, we've been talking about teen issues, what we can do as a community to show support and encouragement to teens. My name is Carla Ambrose, and I'm a therapist, and I'm here with my husband, Mark, who is a family law attorney. Mark, let's just start right up and start talking about dating.
When it comes to teen dating, it's not about sex. Teens who date should choose activities in public places where conversations and healthy activities can be carried out on without becoming involved in intimacy.
Going out in groups is a good thing for teens to consider. Since dating may eventually lead to marriage, it's a good idea not to begin too early or date one person too long unless they are ready to commit to a lifetime relationship. Teens should choose the right kind of activities for dating. Good dates may be sporting events, high-quality movies, or having a good dinner or a meal, whether at home or out. A good concert or a church group is always great places to be involved in and going out on a date.
For more information on teen dating, I would encourage you to read Dating, Cheating, and Loving God by 20-year-old Stanley Winters Jr. Stanley is from Sacramento and is attending Azusa Pacific University. It's a great read in understanding teens' daily struggles and how to work through them. With that being said, let's now talk about the internet.
Whatever you think about the internet as a parent, you'll need to deal with 3 realities. It is very useful to your teens, it is very harmful to your teens, and whether we get educated on the internet or not, it is here to stay. When it comes to the internet, we need to protect our teens from harmful content, harmful people, and harmful over-involvement. If your teen is using the internet in unhealthy ways, think safety comes first. It comes first before privacy. It comes first before them wanting their own space. And it comes first before trying to be their friend.
It's a good idea to have the computer in a common area of the house. Establish the internet as a privilege, not a need. Most of what your teen values about the internet isn't a necessity. It's more of a convenience. As parents, we are limited to an extent to how much we can manage a teen's internet use due to libraries, hotspots, and phones. We can share our beliefs, values, and concerns.
And sharing our beliefs, values, concerns are important, and they're not to be minimized. Mark talked about Stanley Winters Jr. in his book. It's a great book, but what I think is so good about it is here's a 20-year-old teen talking about the same topics from a 20-year-old perspective, and he's right here within our community. If you want to go to his website to get the book or find out more about it, it's In His Presence 12 at yahoo.com. In His Presence 12 at yahoo.com. And just to hear what we're saying from a youth who's going through it. Driving in cars is something that goes on. It's not a good idea to let your teen drive anywhere at any time. They feel like they want to. That what happens is soon enough. Them driving, wanting to do what they want is going to happen eventually. It's better to establish perimeters that are age appropriate and that you can gradually increase as your teen matures. Require your teen to ask for permission. It will allow you time to make your decision.
Rather than buying your teen a car, consider getting another family car and allow your teen to use it. There's a psychological difference between using a family car and using your car. Should you need to take away your teen's driving privileges for a time, your teen will likely put up less resistance if the car your teen's been driving is yours and not hers. Finally, if your teen's works require her to pay some of the expense of the car, this provides a sense of what's required to own a car.
Cars is one topic, clothes is another, and we don't have that much time, but I just want to say that clothes are very important to teens. It can be the cause of major arguments. Clothes is a way we build independence. Parents should encourage their teen to have their individual styles because it plays an important role in their development. Clothes is one way teens can indicate that they are like their parents and are identifying with their peers as they prepare to form their own values, feelings, and attitudes.
Remember, clothing styles have meaning. They can tell you a great deal about your teen's inner world, what's important to them, how she feels about herself, and what she thinks about her relationships. Deal with inappropriate dress. You may want your teen to be responsible for what he wears and how it affects others. Give your teen as much freedom as possible in this area. Carla.
Yes, and I wish we had more time, but we don't. But join us next time for Couch and Court Issues. Thank you for joining us.
We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Couch and Court Issues, A Christian Perspective. The information provided by Carla and Mark is not intended to establish a therapist-client or attorney-client relationship. If you have any questions regarding you or your family's legal interests, please call attorney Mark Ambrose at 916-492-9170. This program is sponsored by the law offices of Mark Ambrose.